Hi, my name is Hamish Murray. I'm 10 years old and I live in a home among the gum trees in Rochdale South. We don't have lots of palm trees, but we do have a mulberry tree. Our place isn't quite big enough for a sheep or two, or a kangaroo. But my dog Toby does have a very woolly coat, and I've got a few chickens. There's a massive clothesline out the back, just in front of the veranda, but sadly, there's no old rocking chair. Wally Johnson and Bob Brown wrote the song Give Me a Home in the Gum Trees in 1974, the same year that my neighbour and her family moved into their newly built home in Rochdale South. In her backyard was a well-established gum tree, and it still stands today. She estimates that it could be between 70 and 80 years old. It is very tall, has smooth bark, and is a silvery grey colour. This tree is home to many birds, including a family of kookaburras, noisy miner birds, and grey butcherbirds. It gives me lots of shade in my trampoline on the afternoon, so it's nice and cool to jump on even when it's hot outside. It's crazy to think that the giant grey gum was in my street before any of the houses or even the road was built there. It was there before my parents and even my grandparents were born. But sadly, around where I live, people are cutting down lots and lots of trees to build new houses, and not homes among the gum trees, homes where the trees used to be. I love trees, and today I hope to convince you that real estate isn't everything. We shouldn't cut so many trees down. Firstly, let's talk about the environment. We need trees for clean air. It's essential for the earth. Trees also play an important part in the of the ecosystem and the habitat for wildlife. Animals need a place to live too, and who doesn't want more wildlife? The thing is, it's not enough to just plant new trees if you cut down big ones. Big and old trees are really important. In southeast Queensland alone, over 130 species of wildlife are dependent on tree hollows for their survival. This includes birds, bats, mammals, frogs, and reptiles. Trees are also the primary storehouses of carbon dioxide. We need them so we can breathe clean air. Trees also make things cool and shady. As you might have noticed, I've got red hair, and I get sunburned really easily. I love going to places with lots of trees because they're cool, shady, and my mum doesn't have to make such a big deal about me wearing a hat. If there were more trees and bigger trees on my street, I could walk to my friend's place and not worry about getting sunburned or even burning my feet in the concrete. Aside from the environmental reasons, there is a pretty crucial reason why we should keep more trees around. Having fun is pretty important to me, and trees are just that. There are lots of trees all around my school, but we aren't allowed to climb in any of them. There are lots of trees, and I think that's a shame. There's so much you can do in trees. Trees are tranquil, they make me feel happy and calm, but also adventurous and like a leader. I would love a tree house to plan at school and at home. We did have a tree at my school that everyone climbed in, even though we weren't meant to. It was only small, but you could climb inside it and sit in the bushy branches. It's kind of like a hideout because you were almost invisible once you were inside the tree. Lots of kids used to play in it, but they cut it down so we wouldn't get hurt, even though that never happened. I don't understand why it's dangerous. It was only small and we loved it. There's one spot at my school that doesn't have any trees, and that's the old parade ground. My school was built in 1931, and back then, having a parade ground made sense. But now we have a parade inside the gym. It's much cooler. There's plenty of space for me and my 1,000 schoolmates to sit down. The parade ground is 600 squares of black bitumen in the middle of the school. We're not allowed to run across it, and it gets really hot during the day, so it's mostly out of bounds. Last year, some scientists in New South Wales studied the surface temperatures around schools. They found the unshaded gravel, like my parade ground, recorded temperatures of more than 60 degrees on extremely hot days. When they took measurements in areas with lots of trees, they found it was as much as 20 degrees cooler. The scientists said that tree coverage is crucial for keeping playgrounds cool. Can you imagine how great my parade ground would look with trees to sit under and grass to sit on? We could even build a few tree houses. It would be like a beautiful oasis in the middle of the school. I understand that sometimes trees need to be knocked down for things like homes to be built, but I'm concerned that sometimes too many get cut down because people are interested in making money. And it's easier to plant new trees than to work around the trees that are there. As a kid, I'd be annoyed if my family bought a brand new, barren backyard with no shady trees, singing birds, or local wildlife. I think if you want to develop in an area with big old trees, that you should have to transplant them somewhere else, not just knock them down. In fact, maybe they could bring some across to my school's parade ground so we could have some mature, shady trees ready to go. In summary, I'd love for all kids to grow up in a home among the gum trees, even go to schools among the gum trees. They're fun to plan, they're good for the planet, homes for wildlife, and they keep me cool. Thanks for listening today. It's been great to be here and share my ideas with you. I love trees and I hope you do too.